This time on Goss's Garage, I've got a tip for you if you try to do some repairs yourself. Now, one of the more common causes of a check engine light is what's called an EVAP code. Now, EVAP is Evaporative Emission Control System, and it's made up of all of those parts that trap the fumes that come out of the gas tank while the car is sitting and even when it's being run. Now, those fumes are channeled by means of various hoses and valves and relays and so on. They're channeled to this unit right here. This is what's called a vapor canister. It stores fumes. There's charcoal and a bunch of filters and stuff inside this. It stores fumes until you start the engine. Then, when you start the engine, the computer on the car senses that the engine is running and triggers this solenoid right here. This is a purge solenoid, and it allows the fumes that are stored in the canister to be drawn into the engine and burned with the fuel. That way they don't pollute the atmosphere. Now, these things can be extremely difficult to diagnose. You, in most cases, have to have tools like a smoke machine and all kinds of things. But in their infinite wisdom, vehicle manufacturers, at least some of them, have taken to doing this. This is a test port for the EVAP system. Now, the unfortunate thing is that it looks very much like the fuel pressure test port on the fuel line. And to make it even more complicated, the fuel line on this particular car ran right beside this, and they were clamped together. Now, the technician in this particular case looked at this, thought it was a fuel pressure test port, disconnected the end of this hose to hook up a purge system that was supposed to clean the fuel injectors and things like that, hooked it into this hose instead of the fuel line, and then proceeded to pump all of this cleaning chemical right into the vapor storage canister. Now, that destroyed the canister, and it damaged some other parts in the system to the tune of about $1,000. Now, there is a label on here that tells you what this is and what you should be doing with it and so on. So, if you happen to be looking for a problem in the EVAP system in your vehicle, make sure that you don't put anything into this other than smoke or something that is recommended for the test procedure, because you can do a lot of damage and it happens very quickly. So a couple of things. When you have an EVAP code, you're going to get a check engine light, you're going to test it, or somebody's going to test it. You have an EVAP code. First thing to test is the gas cap, because the gas cap is used all the time and they wear out. So you may have just a simple fix, putting a new gas cap on it, and you're done. But above and beyond that, you have to make sure that if you have to take it to a shop, that they have a smoke machine. Now, a smoke machine is going to fill the fuel tank and all of these hoses and everything with smoke. And that smoke has a chemical in it that makes it glow or makes it more visible when you hit it with black light. There's also a pair of goggles that go with these machines. They're yellow goggles to make this stand out even more. Now, what the technician does is fills the system with the smoke, then uses a black light underneath the car while it's up in the air and the special yellow goggles to look for signs of that smoke coming out of the system. Where the smoke leaks out, that's where your EVAP problem is. Without that machine, it's strictly hit and miss, and apparently a lot of people miss. And if you have a question or a comment, drop me a line right here at radio@goss-garage.com.